We in here. We in here. All right. So this is my first time going live. I want to make sure everything is set up correctly. All right. I wanted to hop on here and talk about, because I heard a couple people mention my name change, but they have absolutely like no idea. They're like, oh, you wanted a power name, or you wanted a stage name. And I'm like, no, none of that was the reason why I got my name changed. So I thought I should tell my side of the story, or my story, because if you don't tell your story, guess what? Everybody else is going to tell your story. And I'm days away from my birthday. I actually been thinking about doing this video for the longest. So just thankful to actually hop on here and just get it done. Like, to be thinking about something for like a year and actually and not doing it is, I have to get out of that. I have to stop living in my head. And so my birthday's coming up. It's a milestone year for me. So that is what that year is going to be, is no longer living in my head and actually like living here in physical world. That's why I'm sitting here in this throne chair. So I'm going to be the queen of actually taking action and not just living in my own head. So let's get into it. Look at my crazy hair. I love it. Okay, so yes, I'm gonna be free. I hate that it took me this long in my life to just be free and be me, but I'm here, and I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna keep doing what frees me, and because once I'm gone, like, the worst thing you can do is leave this earth and not have expressed who you actually are. It's like, then you're not living. Let me show y'all my little outfit. Okay, give y'all something to look at since you're looking. Woo! Just a little something. Okay, and the shoes. Check me out. Yes. All right, I think, I like this angle actually. I'll do the rest of the video like this. It's Friday. The girls wanted to do a girls' night out, but I'm exhausted and I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like going anywhere. So I'm here kind of like into pajama wear, and I took my pajamas off and this is kind of comfy and relaxing. I just threw these on to hop on here, talk about my name change. So let's get into it. Okay. So people that really, really, really know me, right? So my birth name was Chana Carter. Okay. My mom is Margaret Carter. And my mother, I come from a family that has been through so much, and it's all really due to the choices that my relatives have made. My mother was born into a great family, a great loving family. She had everything I wish I had. And so I don't understand how does someone that come from a loving household, a mom and a dad, they own property, they were great people in a community, and to turn out like that. So I really don't know. I wasn't there, right? Like, when you aren't there, you don't know exactly what happened, but I know that her parents wanted to, instill all the goodness that they could into her, and they were, she went to the best schools, and she was spoiled, and they gave her everything, and she just wanted that party life, for whatever reason. And then she met my dad, same exact thing. Mother and father in the house. His father was supervisor, and this is in like the 50s and the 60s, right? So could you imagine, like, um, people of color during this time, in the 50s and 60s, owning property and owning businesses? His dad was a supervisor at the post office. He owned a local store, convenience store. Um, he owned properties, and so he's raised in this household with his mom and his dad, and his dad was a big guy in the community, and he really didn't do much for himself. So you got this group of people that have worked so hard and have gotten a level of success, and you see this a lot in um, it's unfortunate just in history. You see it where you have a successful generation, and then the next generation doesn't actually pick up the ball and further that generation. But that's neither here nor there. And I don't want to demonize anyone. I wasn't there, and I don't blame anybody for anything. Everybody made the choices that they made. The best thing that I can do is just make my own choices and be my own woman. I can't, I can't change the past. And I really haven't talked about the past because it's like, what's the sense of giving the past any power? But I realized that all this is bigger than me, and I have to tell my story. I have to tell it. It's just a part of my life's journey to tell my story to help other people. But my dad, so my mother and my dad had great salad foundation. I don't know why they turned out the way they did, but they just wanted that party, fast-paced lifestyle. So you got two people on a same vibrational level. They get together and they have a bunch of kids. But I published a book in 2015. I'm going to go ahead and re-release that book under I used a pen name, but I'm actually going to go ahead and re-release the book under my own name, my real name that I have now, my God-given name. So, so my mom and my dad, they got together and they did some things, they just wanted that fast-paced lifestyle, and in that fast-paced lifestyle, they had 8 kids. I was the second oldest of 8. So they had 8 kids, but I had the kids, I was there. I'm not going to say, I was raising the kids. And, but that was yesterday and this is today. So a lot has happened, and I had gotten married, and my marriage wasn't working. I actually have a video about my marriage. I might upload it on this channel. I'll figure out how to do that. And I talked about right before I was leaving. So I was thinking about leaving, but I'm like, I don't know. Because when you're living a life and everything is okay, but it's not authentic to yourself, it's like, man, I'm not honoring myself and being authentic to, how I really feel inside. And I just couldn't live like that anymore. But anyway, so I'll upload that video to this channel. But once I was married, so I had my husband's last name at the time, and that marriage wasn't working, and it got time for me to get a divorce. And when I was getting a divorce, I'm like, well, I really don't have a last name, I want my family's last name. It's like, do I go back to my maiden name? I don't want his name. I'm like, what do I do? So I was actually searching for a last name. And I was like, I just want to change my name. So I started searching, I just put in, legal name change. How do you change your name? And this company came up. Okay, so this company comes up, and it was really interesting. I'm just thinking it's a company that just helps you change your name. So just going through, whatever they're asking me, I'm answering all the questions they're asking me. So, what's your date of birth? When, what time of day were you born? Things like just asking me questions. And then they send me a report. Okay. And so I read some of the report, and, their philosophy is based on your date of birth. There are names that are in alignment with who you are and what your purpose is here on this earth. And so I know that may sound strange to some people, or maybe sound far-fetched, but then talking to these people and, growing up, I was in church a lot, right? So I know a lot of Bible-based stories. And a lot of Bible-based stories, before God would do something to someone or like bless them, like, hey, okay, your name used to be this, but from this point on, your name is this, right? So in stories, we see that repeatedly before God would come into someone's life and bless them or change their life. He would change their name. So God would change people's names. And I hate to say that so vaguely without saying, because there's so many different stories, and I don't know them off the top of my head, to say, hey, Joseph's name used to be this or that, but okay. But yeah, I'll circle back to that. Maybe I'll do a video on religion and how I was raised, because I was raised in different churches as well, in different religions. So what happened from there? They gave me the report, and I was like, okay, names have meaning, and names are powerful, and names have a significance. And now, knowing what I know, thinking back to when I named my kids, like my daughter, I just named her something that, just sounded cool, which is something that we do where I'm from. I'm from the Midwest. I guess I could say, yeah, that's where I was born. I'm not going to say I'm from that's where I was born. But I've lived in several states. It's hard to tell where I'm from. Are you from where you were born? Are you from where you spent the most years? Are you from, where you spent your childhood? All those places are different for me. But my daughter, yeah. So where we're from, we just like, oh, I like the way that sound, and that's how we name a baby. It's like, okay. But knowing what I know now, names are powerful. And so I got the report, was reading over the report, and they gave me 50 first names that were in alignment with my date of birth, 50 middle names, 50 last names. And so I just simply picked the name. And once from there, I took that name to the courts, and voila, that's how I got Victory Camille Saver. Okay. So another thing I didn't know about this company is that they consult with the Kabbalah. So, and I don't even know, I'm like, oh my God, what is the Kabbalah, right? So I'm like, oh my God, I'm sitting here, I've done all these things and not even knowing what I've gotten myself into. Or not really gotten myself into, but just like, I'm doing things and I'm like, I don't even know what the Kabbalah is. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to see what this is. And so I'm still learning what that is. And so I guess I'm on this journey and I'm getting things figured out as I go. And I just have a different viewpoint. I have a different view on life, everything that I've gone through, everything that I've seen. I just really have a different view on life, and I'm ready to just show the world who I am and not be in a shell anymore. So I know I may say a lot, but it's because I have not been speaking up, and I'm gonna do my best to speak up and tell my story. I've been wanting to do this. I've at least thought about doing this video for, I'm going to say at least 6 months, just over and over again. Like, you should probably do this video. You should do it. You should do it. You should do it. Okay, finally I'm doing it. So yeah, it's been actually a year. It's been a year. So that's just a little bit about the name change. And then I got into numerology. Oh my gosh. Because I was wondering, I'm like, before I left, I did not want to break up a marriage. Okay. So I was just like, I just really want to understand, like, why is this not working? You know, just want to understand him, want to understand myself on a different level. And then once I started to study myself, then now I'm like, okay, I can better understand the type of person that will be good for me and what I'm looking for, you know, and what's not working with this person I was married with. And so we were just really not in alignment with each other. And what was so funny, because if you talk to me about numerology, right? Oh, okay, so I'm from the Midwest. I spent some time in Chicago. Okay. And in Chicago, there's this radio station, it's called WGCI. And so on WGCI, there was a guy that would come on. So growing up, you know, listen to WGCI, there's a guy that would come on. His name was Lloyd. Lloyd Streisand. I don't know how to pronounce the last name, and I don't know the exact last name. So he's a numerologist, right? And so anytime an event happened, I mean, with a celebrity, whether it was like a celebrity death, whether it was whatever kind of event would happen, he would break the numbers down behind it. And so I just would, you know, as a kid, I'd be listening like, oh, that's crazy, you know? But again, this is what I grew up listening to, not really understanding what he was talking about, but I've heard of such things, right? And so I was like, I was reading something, and I think like numerology came up again. And I was like, I wonder if I broke the numbers down, you know, like this is happening in my marriage. I wonder if I broke the numbers down, what would I find? And it's so crazy. So I broke the numbers down in my marriage, and my life path and my husband's life path is the same exact life path as my mom's life path and my dad's life path. So it was just kind of like I was repeating my mom and my dad's relationship, you know, and I was just like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Like cannot be, like the numbers were exactly the same. And these are people, like my mom and my dad was together for, you know, I think they separated when I was like 10. So, I mean, they put in some years, and it was crazy. I learned a lot. I feel like I've lived so many different lives, and I've seen so much. And so I just have a different perspective from a lot of people, you know. And so that is what my name change about. It wasn't a power name. It wasn't a stage name. It was just a name that was in alignment with my date of birth. And I believe it was just a God-given name. Actually, again, so it was out of 50 different names, 50 different middle names, 50 different last names. And oh my God. And so what I didn't know, so Victory, right? And then Saber. So I didn't know, and you know, I'm studying Spanish, so I'm thinking, I'm studying Spanish. I didn't know Saber means to know. Had no idea. Like I had no idea. I'm just picking the names from off the list. I didn't even know this is like from the Kabbalion. I didn't know, you know, what the last name mean. I just was like, okay, well, it's on this list of 50 different last names. This is what I'm going to pick. And I'm like, oh my God, is this serious? So, okay, so what's happened since I've changed my name? So I've changed my name, and since I've changed my name, I've been I did a couple modeling gigs. I've been on an extra on set. So imagine like how a favorite TV show. Imagine your favorite TV show, right? Like you literally watch the show and then you get to be an extra on that show. Even if you're just like a person in the background, like you don't even have to pay me. It was just like a cool thing. So I was extra. And I almost got on a different show, but I was working and I put my work, my work was my everything. I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna work. I'm gonna be here. I was really committed to that. But you can only commit to something. I am down to being committed, just to something that's committed to me as much as I'm committed to it. And so I had a wake up call that, you know, that I wasn't as committed to me as I was to it, and that's okay. So that's a little bit about why I changed my name, and that's coming from my mouth. And the people still say whatever they want to say, but actually, in my office, I bought the list in my office, and I'm like, because I was telling everybody's been seeing me on this journey. So before, they saw me go through my divorce. My divorce was pretty ugly, and it was just drug out for almost 2 years. And they saw me when I was processing my name change, and I had the papers, and I was in the office, and I'm like, hey, this is a list of names, and what do you think? What name should I pick? Because I never thought about changing my first name. I actually like my birth first name. I think it's pretty cool, and it actually fits me. It really does. And what's so funny about my birth first name, Chana, Chana. And so I love Indian food. Do you hear me? Like I eat Indian food like I'm from India. Like I love that stuff. And I was at the Taste of Chicago, and I didn't know. I was walking past a food booth, and the food booth said, had my name on there. I was like, why does it have my name on there? And then they're like, oh, it's it's an Indian dish. And I'm like, oh my God, it's an Indian dish. And so I started getting into Indian food. It's amazing. Just like me, sweet but sour. Just a sweet, spicy, I should say. Sweet and spicy. Just a perfect blend of flavors. And so, yeah. Yeah. Oh, but yeah, my mother was actually wanting to spell, because my mother, wasn't a very good speller, but she actually wanted to spell Chante. Chante, but she spelled Chana. And I don't know. So my name was that. That's how my name ended up being Chana instead of Chante. Well, I feel like I'm going on and on and on. This is just a little bit. At least I got it out there. You heard it directly from my mouth. But think what you're going to think, say what you're going to say. And as long as I said my piece, that's all that matters. I love you, and I mean that. And I wish nothing but the best for everybody. And love, peace, and prosperity, abundance, wealth, health, and prosperity to you all. Bye. Stop living in your head. Actually live.